I wanna believe what you're into me. Follow my lead, I see it out so vividly. But you ask me, how do you answer it? I need to get to know you one. Oh, let me get more close and personal. Não matter if flash, onde tá por I hope you say you give me one. I like to get to know you one. Let me get more close and personal. Don't matter if flash, onde tá por I hope you say you give me one. Ça te fait pas ça, quelque chose en toi, quand nos passés se répondent et qu'on se retrouve juste toi et moi. Et moi je flonne, je me reconnais pas. Quand tu te détaches et que les mots ne viennent pas, et je sens bien que je m'en mal. Tout ça c'est pas normal, tu voudrais la version sous-titrée. Laisse-moi voir ce qui reste à voir, emmène-moi vers le grand soir, te souffler si tu veux bien m'écouter. Un petit peu toi et moi, je sais plus, je sais pas. Un petit peu toi et moi, et toi t'en penses quoi?
Bom dia, olá, sejam bem-vindos.
Good
Primeiro,
morning.
queria agradecer
Welcome.
aqui a
First of
presença
all, I would like to
dos meus
thank
amigos,
the
parceiros,
presence of
colegas
my friends,
e
partners, colleagues
presencialmente também quem está nos
who are here
acompanhando
in
online,
person and
tanto
those
nas
who are
atividades
watching us online. So
da
first, I would
nossa
like
prefeita
to
Paula
greet
Iores,
our Vice
a
Mayor,
nossa
Paula
presidente da
Iores,
Câmara dos
the
Vereadores, Marcelo
President of
Santos.
our
Também
um,
temos aqui
City
a
Council,
secretária
Marcel
da
Santos, and our
Educação, Carla Sassetti,
Secretary of
também
Education, Carla
também
Sassetti, and
Daniel
the Secretary
Caravantes,
for the
nosso
Environment,
capitão
Daniel
Murphy,
Caravantes, and our
capitão dos bombeiros.
captain of the
Nesse
Fifth
período,
Brigade.
né, capitão? Não está sendo fácil.
And this period is not so easy,
Infelizmente,
right? It was very
esse momento que o
difficult,
Estado passou nos
this
últimos
moment that
meses,
the
né?
state went through in the
Agradecer
last
aqui a
few
presença do Oscar
months.
Schmidt,
Also, would like
nosso
to thank the presence of Oscar
vice-presidente conselheiro
Schmidt,
da Fras,
our
também
vice
acionista, né,
president of
acionista
the
importante aqui
board
representando os nossos
and a
acionistas aqui
shareholder.
presentes.
It's also
Queria
important
aqui agradecer
representing our
também ao
shareholders.
Sérgio Carvalho,
And I
que é o
also would
CEO
like
da
to thank
Randoncorp,
Sergio
todo o
Carvalho, the
Comex,
CEO of
gestores, a liderança da
Randoncorp,
Randoncorp,
the
todos os parceiros
Comex
e colegas
managers
aqui,
and leadership of
clientes também.
Randoncorp, partners and
Vamos
colleagues and
nós agradecer aqui
clients as
todos os
well. So I'd
stakeholders
like
aqui
to thank
presentes.
all the stakeholders that are present
Estamos hoje,
here.
então, na quarta
So
edição
today
do
we are
nosso
in the
Ambição
fourth edition
ESG.
of our
Para
ESG
nós é
Ambition,
ano
and
mais do
for
que
us,
especial, afinal
it's a
completamos
special year.
75 anos de
We are
história.
celebrating
Quando
75
esse
years of
mecânico
history,
começou com meu
where
pai,
that
Raul Randon,
mechanics
e
shop
meu tio
started with my
Ercílio,
father,
uma
Raul
pequena
Randon, and my
mecânica,
uncle
hoje uma
Ercilio in a
empresa
small mechanics
presente em mais
shop,
de
and
120
today is a
países,
company that is
e
present in more than
reforçando aqui
120
durante esse
countries,
dia
and
os nossos
highlighting
compromissos,
here
né, a nossa
our
ambição
commitments,
ESG,
our
que é
ambition,
uma visão
ESG,
que
and
acompanha
it's a
décadas,
view
né?
that
Nós
follows
falamos aí desde a década de
us for
70 como
decades.
capital
We
aberto,
since the
desde a
70s
década de 80
we are a public company,
falando
and since
e
the 80s we are
trabalhando já
talking
na
and
questão de
working
meio ambiente, principalmente já com ISO
the issue of the
14004,
environment already
lá na
with
década de
ISO
90,
14,000
e também
in
a
the
questão
90s,
social,
and
que
also the
aqui
social
está na
aspect
veia, né?
is in
Randon
our
aí
blood.
muito inspirado
Handong
pelos valores do fundador Raul
is
Randon, e
inspired by
hoje
the values of the
o nosso
founder Raul
center já deve
Handong,
estar
and
há
today
mais
we
de
have
20
our
anos coordenado
Institute
presidido
Elisabetta
por Maria
Handong for
Randon,
more
que
than
nos
20
muito
years,
orgulha, e que nesse ano 21
presided by
terá
Maria
um grande
Handong, and this
desafio.
year has been having
Agradecer aqui a
an
todo o
even more
time
important role.
dedicado,
And I want to thank all the
diretamente ou
team, the
indiretamente à
dedicated
pauta
team
ESG. Então
that is
hoje é
dedicated to
muito
the
claro
ESG
que a
topic.
nossa
So today
ambição
it's very
ESG
clear
está
that our ESG
intrínseca,
ambition
está
is
dentro do nosso
intrinsic
propósito. Nós falamos conectar pessoas
in
e
our
recursos de
purpose.
grande
We talk about
prosperidade,
connecting
e
people and
não seríamos
uh,
capazes de atingir as
richness
metas e
generating prosperity, and we could
propósitos
not
se nós não
reach our
tivéssemos
targets
mais de
if
16
we
mil
didn't have
colaboradores, que são
more
os
than
nossos
16,000
protagonistas.
employees,
Então, parabéns a todo
which
o time
are our
dedicado.
protagonists. So
Também estarão
congratulations to
aqui
the
na
whole
liderança aqui,
team
né, através do
that will
Sérgio,
be here as
do
well
Anderson e dos
in its
colegas,
leadership with
que
Sergio
é
Anderson
mesmo
and
um trabalho
colleagues
que nós temos feito ao longo
presenting all the work that we have
desses
been
anos
doing and
presentes.
evolving. It's an
ESG
important
é quando nós
evolution.
olhamos a governança, né?
ESG is
A
how we
questão da
look
governança é
at
importante.
governance,
Não
since
é
the
uma
G of
evolução da
governance
noite
is
para o dia,
important.
é um
It's not an
trabalho
evolution
com
overnight, it's
estratégia,
a
com investimento, com
work
muita
that is done with
dedicação,
strategy,
e
with
isso nos
investment
reforça
and
a importância
dedication. So
de
this
olhar ESG a longo
highlights
prazo.
the importance of looking at ESG in the long
Gente, para não
term.
ficar com as mãos muito ocupadas, porque eu gosto de falar e mexer as mãos, né?
I I like
E
to
os nossos
talk and
compromissos vão além dos nossos
gesticulate. So
compromissos públicos vão
our
muito além, né? Então
public
a
commitments
Randoncorp
go well beyond
participou de
that. So
vários
Randoncorp
eventos
has
nacionais e
participated in several
locais e
events
globais, né?
in
O próprio
national, regional, and
Fórum
global
Econômico
events.
Mundial,
The
já 2 anos
World
nós
Economic
estaremos aí no
Forum,
Rio
for
de
example,
Janeiro
we
para
participated in the last
mostrar
2
e
years. We will
trazer as
participate
tendências
next
e
year as well
validar
to
o que
show and
fala
understand the
da
trends,
nosso
and
país,
also
que é um exemplo.
we say
O Brasil é um
to
diferencial no
showcase our
mundo
country
na
because
questão de
Brazil
matriz
has an
energética, na
advantage in the
exportação de
world in
óleo.
terms of the
Afinal, nós falamos e
energy
registramos uma vez qual
mix. We have a
cliente
huge potential. We
do
say
nosso
that our
negócio
main
está no agro,
customer of our
e o
business
agro
is
brasileiro é o
in
celeiro do mundo. Então, nós
agriculture,
queremos
and Brazilian
continuar
agriculture
contribuindo
is
para
the
um
farm of
crescimento
the world. So
sustentável,
we
um
want to
crescimento
continue
farto
to
e com
contribute
muitas
to
oportunidades, com
sustainable
muitas
growth,
energias
especially
renováveis
in
também vindo
agriculture, and
do
with a lot
agro.
of opportunity with
Na
renewable
COP28
energies
que nós
also coming
fomos,
from
e
agro.
também acho que vale
At
destacar, a
COP28 we participated,
COP30
and
será em
next
Belém, no
year
Brasil.
COP30 will be
Passo
in Belém,
muito
Brazil.
importante para o
It's an
Brasil
important step, an
se
important moment
posicionar
for
e mostrar
Brazil
todo o
to position
potencial
itself
de
and to show
sustentabilidade
its
que tem,
potential
né?
of
E a questão
sustainability.
aqui que vai ser comentado, importante, o
And the issue
relacionamento
that will
com
be
ESG,
mentioned here, the ESG report, ESG risk report, and the IFRS, it's a global commitment. Until 2026, we must start to report, and we are already on this work, this internal development. We will report the impact of ESG and climate change, how much it impacts or could impact the balance sheet. So it's not enough to show numbers without saying how much it impacts. But the most important thing, which is commitment that comes from the board and the whole executive team, it's very clear to us. It's an investment that we do because we believe in return on the medium to long term. For a company to be sustainable today, it's not enough to just sell a product. It must understand all the chain and see its impact. And as I always recommend, and the importance of reputation, and today more and more the importance of responsibility of companies with what they generate. And it's a collaborative view. So we are having a singular opportunity with our chain of clients and suppliers, and the clients, when we talk about economic forum, they all want to be zero carbon until 2050, and we already have clients that are demanding from us because they want to reach there 10 years before that in 2040, and they won't do that alone. They need the suppliers, and we will also work in the whole chain. So this is an important moment to highlight this day. And well, I could not speak about ESG without speaking what happened in our state. In the beginning of May, it's a humanitarian crisis, what we went through and are still going through, because it is not ended. We still have people living in shelters and family members that suffered the losses and economic losses, and companies that don't exist anymore, and even the people leaving the state to other states and even outside the country. So I think it's a challenge. It's a reconstruction, not of months or a year, but probably a decade, as we saw with Katrina in New Orleans, that took almost 10 years and investment of $100 billion. So we are looking at this. There's the aspect of a humanitarian crisis and the emergency aspect that was done, and we must thank the support of all our employees, all the partners that helped and supported us, and the Institute Elisabetta Randon had an important role when we talk about the social aspect. It was very important this year, and Valeria will speak a little bit more about the work that was done by our leadership, our colleagues, because it was an unexpected crisis. It was the largest climate catastrophe in Rio Grande do Sul and Brazil as well, and we want to rebuild the state in a way that is more sustainable and to be an example, because we know that more and more these climate impacts will happen either here or in other places. That's why it's important to understand and to work Rio Grande do Sul as a case. I'm very positive looking. I think the work that is being done in the public and private sector, the companies themselves during crisis, and to rebuild the state, this has been very important. So I want to highlight the effort of all the persons who dedicated their time that they had and didn't have to visit the people who were going through this problem, our employees, more than 300 that were impacted. For us, it's important to highlight this and to thank all our effort and of our partners, clients and suppliers, all the community of stakeholders that together, holding hands, we were able to go through this moment, but we still have a path, a long-term path to rebuild our state of Rio Grande do Sul, and I'm certain that we can come out much better on the other side. And well, ESG is very important to Randoncorp. I highlight here that we want to reach important milestones. Important to highlight it in 2023 in the sustainability report that we shared in May. We did the double materiality. It's an important instrument for materiality, but also for communication and planning of the ESG initiatives of Randoncorp. The process was done for the first time with the concept of double materiality, considering three axes for analysis: financial, risks, social and environmental, and perspectives of stakeholders. And the topics were grouped into three pillars: planet, which involves climate change, air quality, product life cycle; people, attraction, development, and engagement of employees, human rights and work relations; health, well-being, and safety of employees; and the third pillar is business, governance, innovation and technology, privacy and data security, ethics, integrity and compliance, and safety and excellence of product. So it's important to highlight these three pillars, which replace the 5 pillars that we presented in the previous edition, but without changing our public commitment. So it's important to highlight, since we are presenting this, the materiality. When we look at our public commitments, we are reaching 2025 already next year. When we shared here in 2021, it looks like yesterday, right? So it's important to highlight that the team has been working in a creative and innovative way and disruptive way. So I want to congratulate our leadership so that we can reduce our greenhouse gas emissions in 40% until 2030, so we can zero the disposal of waste in industrial sanitary sites until 2025, and reuse 100% of treated effluent until 25, and double the number of women in leadership positions until 25, and to have 0 accidents in our operations. And in business, continue to expand our net revenue generated by new products. So our public commitments continue. We are going to achieve and to overcome them, surpass them, especially with our 16,000 protagonists, with the support of our stakeholders, and we believe that we are on the right path. And so that's what today we're going to give you some update on this, but I want to thank first you all for your presence, and I want to say that Randoncorp has been working on this view of sustainable growth, always looking at our purpose and without losing sight of the values of our founders, our principles, and believing that we can do more with less. This is the challenge of all companies. And again, I highlight the ESG ambition for us is a challenge where we put our leaderships and all the 16,000 protagonists, bringing new ideas, new projects, and especially adding more value to our products and to the whole of society and the stakeholders. Thank you so much. Have an excellent event. And Sergio Carvalho, the floor is yours.
Bom dia a todos mais uma vez. Sejam todos muito bem-vindos.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our event. It's a pleasure to talk about this topic with you. We have been talking in many events and opportunities of this transformation in Randoncorp, this moment, special moment that the company is going through in this long journey, 75 years of success. But in the last few years, our company has been transformed, not only for its results, but for the seriousness with which it has been taking care of this topic, ESG. It has invested in technology and generated and placed our company in a different level when we compare to other companies in mature markets. So it's a process of transformation. When we look at the results, our net revenue has been growing in an accelerated way. We have a EBITDA margin, the gross profit, gross cash flow generation that is very important for sustainability. So we've reached 1.6 billion reais. This was our record of EBITDA. We continue to invest strongly, as you can see, 948 million in 2023, If you compare that with revenue, you will see how much our company is investing in the future, investments associated to CapEx, and our people is going to comment about the environment and people and new technologies, but substantive investment so that we can perpetuate our company. On our side, Fras-le Mobility, a very similar story. It's a record in revenue, accelerated growth, almost 20%, 19.6% of EBITDA in 2023. It's a historical record as well. Investments, important investments associated to all this trajectory. And 1 month or 2 ago, we announced the purchase of a company in Mexico, Pua Refacciones, which is the largest transaction of our history, 2.1 billion reais of acquisition price that is going to help us a lot to grow the percentage of revenue in the share of revenue from international markets. And it's a replacement segment that we like a lot because it's more resilient. So it's going to strengthen even more our companies. We have been receiving recognitions. On the left, you can see an award by the Exame magazine as the best in ESG for the 3rd consecutive year, the 3rd time that we are recognized in our segment as the best company in Brazil regarding ESG. In the middle, you can see the award of Valor 1000 as the best company in Brazil in our category, here based in financial results, but in the company as a whole in its trajectory. On the right, the Abrasca Award, which is related to our annual report we received, and we were among the 5 best in Brazil. We were also recognized by our compliance and risk management area. We were a month ago in Germany. Daimler Truck is Mercedes-Benz. If you don't know, this is the largest manufacturer of trucks in the West, and we were recognized as the first Brazilian company to be recognized by the largest truck manufacturer in our history, and we are very honored for that. We received the IntelliJur Award, which is related to this excellence that we have in the advocacy, but we had several other awards. We received awards in quality as being the best that exists, awards related to innovation, awards related to the top of mind in some segments. The first name that comes to mind in the markets and our customers is our name. This has an important value. We also received several executives that are here, even that received awards as the best executives in the category in Brazil. We received lots of recognition, but the point is, those are not just numbers or awards. We did a lot regarding the planet and people and our governance, and that's what we want to share with you, much more than numbers. And to continue our talk, I will call Anderson to continue. Thank you. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here again, another year, to update you on our strategies and initiatives and our deliveries. Thank you for being here with us, those who are here in person. It was already mentioned, and those who are online. Thank you, and I thank you for your availability and the opportunity to talk about this topic that is extremely relevant for us, which is the planet. When we talk about planet, we have 3 dimensions that we like to explore, which are renewable energies, the circular economy and the green products. And my commitment here is to update you, but also to show the new things that are happening in our organization. First, talking about numbers, it's significant that investments are growing. We have been making efforts to make our company more and more a friend of the environment, and that requires investments. We have plans of more than 70 years. Randon just celebrated 75. Fras-le Mobility is 70 years. So we have lots of technologies to be updated, and investments are necessary. And every year we have been dedicating strongly to these projects. Here are some examples connected to what Daniel said, our public commitments, the issue of disposal from 2020 to 2024. We had an important evolution. Today, only 16% of waste from our processes are being disposed in landfills, and our objective is to reach zero until the end of next year. And what is missing is technical challenges. As we work on each waste, opportunities appear, but some are more difficult and others are easier. So what is missing still is to work with slag and refractory from our furnaces. We have several in Brazil. We have 6 technological projects of reuse or disposal of these items. If we don't have success in these projects until the end of next year, we are going to co-process that, and this will have a cost, but we will fulfill the objective of having zero disposals to landfills. But we will continue, but we're very optimistic that we are going to be able to get this 16% that we still cannot dispose it and to reuse it until the end of next year. Let's talk about water. One of our public commitments is the reuse of 100% of our treated effluents. We have advanced 52% from our target until the present moment, but here there's a structural situation. We are making investments, significant investments, reconditioning all the pipelines of the treatment plant for our units so that this water can be reused. In this moment, we have already concluded all the pipelines of the Interlagos site where we are. Now, in Fras-le Mobility in Forqueta, we are very close to conclude this. When we conclude the pipes, there are investments to be done of technological update of the plants, the treatment plants, with reverse osmosis and ultrafiltration. We need to improve the quality of the treated water so that it can be used in processes, in toilets, with the quality that is necessary, so we won't deteriorate our equipment. Until the end of next year, 100% of what we already treat for decades will be reused in the process. What is the big benefit? We don't need to bring new treated water. We'll almost have a closed system. Some is lost by evaporation or leaks. That happens, but the entry of water for industrial consumption will be zero, and this is fantastic. When we look at energy, and the target is until 2030, we need to reduce our greenhouse gas emission in 40% until the end of 2030. We already have a reduction of 11% on the intensity of emissions compared to our basis of 2020. What is intensity? We say intensity because it's relative to the hours worked. So the more hours I work, the more energy I consume, or the opposite is true. The less hours I work, due to market dynamics, less energy consumption. So it's important to see this in relative terms, to have always a percent comparison on this value, because it varies according to the market dynamics. And what we have already concluded, we presented last year, but there are lots of projects still ongoing that will be delivered this year. We have 2 solar energy projects that were delivered, one in our unit at Fras-le Mobility in China, in the Pinghu plant, where 20% of the energy used for that plant comes from solar panels that were installed on the roofs of our units. And here on the test field CTR, we installed a plant with 2.4 megawatts, which makes the unit self-sufficient and still with an excess of 20% that can be destined to the other plants of Randoncorp and Fras-le Mobility. But it's not only that, there are other projects. We have the biomass furnace that we launched last year. It's under construction. Our initial idea was that in January of 25, it would enter operation, and it will actually start 2 months before that, in November of this year. It will start, and we will save 92% of the generation of greenhouse gases in this process. It's very significant. It reduces of our target of 40%. This is half of the target in just one project. It will deliver 20% of the target of reduction of Randoncorp and 60% of reduction of Fras-le Mobility. In addition, the energy substation Fras-le Mobility in its unit of Joinville decided to invest in substation for its own initiative. So we are investing 30 million reais in that plant to have availability of energy so that we don't need to use anymore the generators by diesel, which are very complex for the environment. This project is ongoing and it also delivered in the first quarter of next year. We also hired a company to build a roadmap of renewable energies to the future. There are several market solutions: cogeneration, self-generation, wind, solar, hydro. And we, as a business group with a long-term view, we don't speculate with energy. We need to have energy as a secure base of our plants so that our businesses can continue, but we want to choose the path that has lower greenhouse impact and with the economy that the business needs. So during this year, we are concluding this roadmap to make important decisions for the next few years. We also have an important initiative in our equipment of internal movement. The first is the optimization of our layout to reduce the quantity, and the second is electrification of all the fleet. We did a bidding with several suppliers. We are already implementing little by little because we're talking about several equipment, and we want to have our fleet of forklifts and towers 100% electrified until the end of next year. Another relevant point, and this is a new thing, we have a public commitment related to Scope 1 and Scope 2, which is a 40% of reduction of energy of what we consume and transform inside the plant. But we are, just like many other companies, studying Scope 3. Scope 3 is everything from the cradle to tomb, as we say, from raw material extraction to the disposal of the product at the end of its life cycle. What we already know, this project is 90% done. There are still some details and a certification. You need to certify that this calculation is correct, but it's well aligned with what we find in the market. What I'm showing here is that 7% of our effect is inside or in the energy. 93% is associated to our suppliers in the transformation of our raw materials and goods and services consumed, and also the transportation of these raw materials to our units. And here it is showing, and it's our commitment to understand this in detail and start to have links and projects that are specific with all our supply chain. Steel is an important element for our business, is one of the main factors of greenhouse gas, but the plants have very important. When we look at the 37% related to the transport of all the materials, products, and services that reach our units. So being closer, being more connected makes a lot of sense. That's why we talk a lot about near shoring or friendly shoring. Being close to consumption or close to raw material makes sense. So here we have targets of 2025 arriving, as Daniel said, very close, but our targets of Scope 3 soon will be published when we redefine our ESG targets for the next cycle. For now, we are studying this carbon footprint. We already brought, last year we did a pilot of the railway shoe. It's one of our products. With product intelligence, we reduced in 43% the CO2 footprint. With this learning, we understand how complex it is to do this calculation. It's extremely detailed and complex to have this certified. We understand that you need a software base and a database that is very solid. And what Randoncorp and Fras-le Mobility did, we decided to internalize knowledge. We have a specialized professional, we have software, and we have database. And now what we are doing, we're doing an internal pilot to validate this area in the company. And we are challenging in 3 products and by business vertical: support of compost, the electric axle of suspensions in our vertical of parts, and the modular platform in our assembler. And this will bring us a learning, so that the learning will lead to knowledge to develop in a green way, to knowledge to develop with a smaller carbon footprint. This is the knowledge that we want to keep inside the house. This will be a competitive advantage, and it's a demand from mature market and our clients. We already have a partial discovery in bumper support, looking only at raw material. If we replace steel by composite material that is being used, only the raw material has already reduced in 16% the footprint of this component. We still have to evaluate the process and the upstream and downstream. But we know that composite materials, in this case, is friendly to the environment. Circular economy, bringing some solid numbers. Here we are more focused in Fras-le Mobility. In this slide, we already have 9,000 tons of waste from our castings. And this is not Fras-le Mobility only, we use as a raw material for Fras-le Mobility. So we're already having waste from processes and transforming into products, just like the brake linings that are in the market and that are in our trucks. And we have in some geographies, we collect that from our partner clients. And this collection, we take this lining that is already used. It can't go back to the process because it's contaminated by other elements that it could not be used for brake, but we use as energy, source of energy for the cement furnaces. Another important initiative that Fremax has, we have vans dedicated in Joinville in a radius of 400 kilometers, collecting brake discs and bringing to our process. In addition of removing this scrap from the environment, from the market, we save a significant amount of energy because this is a metal alloy, which is exactly the one that I need. So I need less temperature and energy for the furnace. I need less elements to correct this alloy, and this reduces a lot the time that we need to conclude a furnace run, and this is very important for carbon footprint. So I hope to have updated you on some initiatives. Some are old, some are new, but our commitment with the environment is still very solid and firm, and many new things are to come yet. Now I'll call Luciane to say a few words about our initiatives on people. Luciane, welcome.
Bom dia a todos e a todas.
Good morning, everyone. Talking about people is a privilege, right? Talking about those who make everything happen, those who move, who make all this movement in our organization. So I'm very honored for being here, and I'll start talking about issues related to safety and health of our people and the care that we have with our people. We have as a principle at the companies safety as a non-negotiable commitment. Within this principle, we started to do an unfolding and to identify how we would work internally on this topic. So we defined our public commitment to have 0 severe accidents. And so how we're going to do this development into projects and actions so that this is possible in our possibilities. We worked here, let me see if I can read it. We worked on the concept of, or we brought and adopted the concept of the 3 barriers. When we talk about the 3 barriers, we are talking about working the issues of technology associated to engineering projects that can eliminate or minimize the existing risks. We talk about systems, how we manage our processes of SSO, occupational health and safety. And we also talk about human factors. Now, updating the works, how they are being conducted internally, we put together to work on projects and synergy and to accelerate the processes of reduction of critical risks. We created thematic groups. First, we applied the methodology to identify those risks that effectively have potential to cause severe accidents. We classify those risks. We gathered the companies and we created thematic groups to exchange alternatives, synergies, and solutions quicker with engineering and technology solutions. In the part of systems, also the thematic groups are responsible for strengthening standardizations in our organization. So we systematized ebooks, procedures, manuals, formats that can be replicated in all our units. We also have a certification process. ISO 45001 is the ISO that addresses health and safety at work. It ensures us the continuous improvement of our managing processes. And within the human factors, we are very proud of this model because we believe that an attitude changes life, and this is applicable to any process and to all of us. We all can have attitudes of prevention, we all can work on active care, and we all can take care of ourselves and care of other people who work with us. I will talk more about the update of an attitude change alive, a revitalization that we are proposing, that we also bring a way to measure this because it seems so big. How can we measure this culture? We are going to talk about this. This is an update on all that was done in 2023 and until this moment regarding these 3 topics related to then the issues of technology and theme groups. We have investments in 3 large projects in safety. These 3 projects are related to projects of 2023 that brought us a reduction of 21.3% in the category of our high risks. We have a very important factor. In 2024, we will reach a reduction of above 40%, and for that, the organization provided us 71 million in investment so that we could work in alternatives and projects or technologies that will bring these benefits, the reduction of critical risk. Within systems, these two are related to technology and engineering. Within systems, we had capacitations and formatting of ebooks, standardization and sharing of good practices that were created by the theme groups, in addition to the continuous improvement of our management system, and within human factors, the revitalization of the program and attitude change the life. What is the revitalization? This is a program that started in 2018, and that we understood that we were doing actions that were more for specific dates or without ensuring the continuity of this project. So we brought now a format with a methodology where we have projects, actions, and measurement of the level of maturity of our culture related to the topic of work safety. This is a new format that we are implementing. It's a proposal. It's already ongoing in 3 of our units, 2 in Caxias do Sul and another in São Paulo. And we have another proposal to expand this to all our units. And we still need to expand this plan. Within health and related to care, we brought the concept of integral health or of our people. When we talk about this, we look beyond occupational issues that we have in our companies. How is the health of our people related of tracking of psychosocial factors? Our main objective and our starting point is the application of 3 tools related to critical risks, understanding how the psychosocial factors can or interfere with the occurrence of risks, of accidents, I'm sorry. This process, our health team tested 3 tools, 2 related to operations and another related to administrative area. The 3 tools, the 3 characteristics looking for in this tracking, the identification of how necessary is the readiness level of our units, our full attention for execution of its activities. So this was the main factor of tracking that was done so that we could ensure that the people who are executing activities with higher risk or in administrative areas where the readiness level is very relevant, how much they effectively need support for this process and how much we can start specific actions related to this process. The good thing is that we also tested, it's already in the pilot model, but it involves more than 1,900 people in this process. We want to expand this for everyone, for places with this characteristic, and also we systematized this process. So it doesn't happen that we do it just once and we don't revisit it. So it's being systematized. It's part of the medical evaluation of work together with the periodic exams to which we are all submitted. This is a little bit of our care for people, and I'll call Valeria to continue to talk about our people. Thank you.
Muito bom dia a todos e todas.
Good morning. I will talk a little bit about the update of our public commitment of doubling the number of women in leadership positions, but also all our commitment related to people and related to diversity, inclusion, and equity. So this related to one of our principles of people respected and valued. We updated our number. In 2024, we achieved the number of 19% of our target, and our basis of December 24 was 11% with the objective of reaching 22% in the end of 25. So today we have 19%, a significant advancement. In addition to these themes of diversity, we also want to bring our proposal as a strategy of Randoncorp to work on diversity, inclusion, and equity. We started with an organizational commitment, and we worked on 3 pillars that are very strong. One is inclusive culture, where we work through our leadership, the dissemination of our purposes and our values, bringing this more to our audiences, this perspective of inclusion, diversity, and equity. In the pillar of representation, we have an objective of more and more to have a higher percentage of representation of our society within our population of Randoncorp, according to also the help and support of our affinity groups that we have been working tirelessly for us to also be increasing this number. And also based on our processes of governance and our internal processes to bring more robustness so that all the actions implemented can be sustained through time. So through these 3 big pillars, we maintain our organizational commitment and we advance. Now, talking about data, we have 25% of our employees are women and 19% are in leadership positions. Here I'll talk about how we have been advancing in the acceleration of female careers with our internal programs. So we have developed a program, Jornada Delas, their journey. It brings the objective of expanding, strengthening, and creating a base and a network for women to expand or to increase their careers. In 2023, we created a women mentorship program where we had many women mentoring other women, and we created several career workshops, and we had around 400 people offering and impacting many women in this program. In one of the programs, we had 50% of result already of promotion for these women within leadership positions in the organization. And for 24, we have a program of acceleration of women for the industrial career. So we have 200 women registered for this program for industrial positions in leadership. And then we also have been working with our affinity groups, in addition to women, also the LGBTQI APN plus group, and we have here several affinity groups represented by our colleagues. Welcome. So here we have several meetings. We have around 400 people that participate in the affinity groups in the corporation, in the different business units, and all over Brazil. And we had several meetings of awareness raising for this topic, bringing awareness, knowledge about the topic, and this group has the objective of bringing this awareness of respect, psychological safety, working on the authenticity of people so they can develop more and more and develop their careers in the corporation. We also had a support for education, the launching of the ebook, bringing concepts about the acronym and the whole scope that we bring in this topic. In the group of affinity of race and ethnicity, you already have 1,033 migrants in the corporation. We have representatives of Venezuela, Senegal, Haiti, and this number doubled from last year last year our ambition was to have 500, but we have 1,000. And here we are doing this work of meetings of awareness raising and bringing this topic of Black awareness, bringing our commitment with ancestrality and with the actions that we can promote inclusion and equity for populations that compose this group of race and ethnicity in the corporation. We also have a group of affinity of people with disabilities. Today we have 600 people with disabilities in the corporation. We have several disabilities where we work on several themes. We have disabilities of multiple orders, sight, and we have the issue of work for community, deaf people. We also did some work, sign language, and groups of professionals to welcome as well colleagues with autism spectrum disorder. So several other disabilities are worked or developed in the corporation with this inclusion process. We had several meetings of sensitization for the topic, and one of the main objectives is to work on sensitivity, physical and digital. So we have been doing this work of advancing on this. Here we're going to talk about our Institute Elisabetta Randon, which is our arm of social responsibility of Randoncorp that has been working for more than 20 years in this intense process of development. And we had 8.2 million of investments in the social area in 2023 in the area of culture and sports and other commitments where these amounts were invested. The Elisabetta Randon Institute promotes actions related to education of youth and children in social vulnerability situation that work for the company, and we have all this work of education and socialization in the opposite shift to school. We have today 1,140 services given to children of 6 to 14. We have our continuous program Florescer that more than 20 years exists for the education of these young people, and it's possible to have a continuity of this education and professional education. And in partnership with Senai, we do developments in capacitation where they enter our educational system, Randoncorp, to continue to develop in current topics like robots, automation, so that they can be ready to enter the labor market. And we absorbed here at the corporation in 2023, 54% of the young people that were trained in 2023. So in Qualificar, we do this approach, and we also have in the company the New Paths, which is a program for the corporation where we work on the career transition, valuing the legacy of people who work here and who want to do this transition or to prepare for an external transition. So we have a whole program of development. In 2023, this program was expanded to the whole country, and we redefined this program, bringing more current topics to prepare these professionals for career transition. And I could not forget to talk about this tragedy, as Danielle mentioned, the climate and humanitarian tragedy that happened in our state. So we have been working tirelessly in several actions since this crisis started. It's a crisis that affected the whole state. Very few cities were not affected, and it affected broadly the economy of the state as well. So since the beginning of this crisis, we have been working in several actions, and I'm going to talk more about this. So since the beginning of this journey, we worked with emergency actions through our institute, Elisabetta Randon, to promote this support for emergency issues like providing drinking water, medication, psychological support, to people and also defined levels of support to welcome these people. We worked to understand and to do the diagnosis of the people who are impacted. So we had 300 people directly impacted, employees of Randoncorp, and we started to verify the level of support that was necessary. At that moment, we had the partial paralyzation of 2 operations in Caxias do Sul in the factory area to be able to support and also prioritizing the safety of people. And in Fras-le Mobility in São Leopoldo, we had 15 days of stoppage. In our BB unit at Ranges, our vertical of financial services in Porto Alegre, we also had a paralyzation of a few days because some employees were affected and some clients as well. So we have been providing all the support to these people in these cities to be able to understand and contribute in the best way possible. We developed some levels of support to these professionals. In the beginning, we donate money to all of those to supply their first needs, emergency needs of them and their families. And then we did a census. We had multidisciplinary teams that we visited the residences of all these people with professional psychologists and social workers and civil engineers to identify the level of severity of how these families were affected. And we did a welcoming, a psychosocial welcoming to define new levels of psychological support, where we classified 2 levels: those professionals that had partial losses of their property, where then we provided some donation amount, and those professionals who had more severe losses of their property, even losing their homes. So we provided a larger amount of donation for these employees. We also anticipated the 13th salary and others so that they could reorganize. And we also offered subsidized credits through our bank so that these professionals could have access to credit lines to rebuild their lives. So all these donations were followed with psychological support, legal as well. We provide the legal consultancy for those who were who rented their homes, could see how they could get advisory on this. So these were one of our actions, and we continue to do it. These are some actions of support to the affected communities. We had a task force with the network of distributors of Randon, connecting donations all over the country and doing the logistic distribution of these products and donations with our supply chain, donation of semi-trailers and tanks to distribute drinking waters, and logistic support for medications and materials that were required all over the state. And the list of items or actions that we are doing can be found in our website. And this help cannot stop. This is a humanitarian crisis that will take a long term for the state to rebuild. And here we as Randoncorp, we defined 4 fronts, work fronts. One of social impact, that through the Institute Elisabetta Randon, it has been doing and continues to do actions of service to population in partnership with all institutions, support to schools that are impacted, where we work closely with the communities where we have operations, but also in the communities that were most impacted in the state. So we have already been doing donations to acquire equipment and materials, school materials, but also of teacher training and preparation for the welcoming of these children from the psychological perspective, so that we can do a proper approach of welcoming when they return to school. And other of the actions will be foment to industry and entrepreneurship. Here we have actions to support the reestablishment of these small companies that need to rebuild. So with these partnerships, we will work with promoting these companies so that they can rebuild. And it couldn't be different. The infrastructure, the road infrastructure, which is directly connected to our business, and We also have other partnerships and investments with resources and our expertise to rebuild the road network of Rio Grande do Sul. Those are some of the fronts that we are working on and will continue to work on. And all the new actions that come to be developed will be shared on our website and social networks, and you can all find them there. Now I'll call Cesar to continue. Thank you, Valeria. Good morning, those who are present here and those who are watching us online. As was already said here by Daniel Randon in the beginning of our presentation, one of our main pillars, ESG pillars, is the business pillar. Talking about business, we cannot forget to mention a little bit of our story. It's 75 years of Randoncorp, 70 years of Fras-le Mobility, all supported and guided by our main purpose, which is to connect people and wealth, generating prosperity. This happened since the beginning of the 40s, supported by innovation and the search for delivering to society and the community solutions in products and services that are more and more innovative and connected to the needs of this market. Of course, it could not be different. This ends up being one of our public commitments, which is to expand the net profit generated by these new products in our organizations. And how have we been doing this? Well, in the last cycle, in 23, we generated more than half of the revenue of our companies through new products that were launched in the last 5 years. So we're talking of approximately 5 billion reais in revenue generated through products with less than 5 years. This shows this DNA, this strength that Randoncorp has in generated technologies and bringing innovation and ensuring to being on the high end, and this will bring us to a more promising future. Now, speaking about numbers, we have here concrete data of how much we have been invested traditionally in innovation, product innovation. If we look at the curve here, we are talking about an average around 1.5% to 2% of our net revenue invested in new technologies in a growing number of investment values. It was 193 million reais invested in 2023 in development and innovation. This is a significant number. We are a multinational company with national capital, so it's a Brazilian company that invests strongly in the creation of new technologies, in the search of being in the front and innovation. This is shows up in what we offer to the market. In the last cycle, for example, making these numbers more robust and showing how much this strategy is important, we deposited 66 patents. In 2023, the Randoncorp companies applied for 66 patents. We are positioned in the second place in the INPI ranking, the Patent Institute. It's important to highlight that we are adding up the patents deposited by Randoncorp and by our ECT, our Institute of Science and Technology, the Institute Hercílio Randon. It's an institute that was founded and is maintained by Randoncorp Industries. It has a vocation to promote technological innovation of our companies. This institute today has approximately 300 researchers with more than 90, almost 98 PhDs and masters. So yes, we have a strong body inside and outside of our companies through our institute and the connections that we have with universities that work for us to reach fantastic numbers like this. It's important to highlight that being a national company that has the second position in a ranking like this is something that makes us very proud. How this is structured? It's clear how we see this future. We understand that the future is a future of sustainable mobility. And here I bring a general view of the actions that we have been doing and the projects. It's clear that we are going to work with mobility, electrification. We have been working on this. We expand the use of embedded electronics. This will bring a differential and ensure the perpetuity of our business. And as was already said before by Anderson, Compos, we work with in smart materials. You look there in the bottom line, we are talking about 40 projects that are related to these three areas, always with partnership with our Science and Technology Institute, as was mentioned. And of course, that all these projects in its execution times have delivered solutions, high-end solutions, bringing competitive advantage to our companies. The way that we are seen in the market, we are known as a group of companies that are innovative and is at a high end. So here I bring some of the solutions on the market. We talked about contours, Anderson mentioned this, all the impact of the use of new materials that has been bringing about ESG aspect, weight reduction, the process itself, the raw materials that are used, they are significantly less damaging in terms of generation of greenhouse gases, and this is a journey that we have embraced, and it's guided. Within this journey, we also explore, we need to work with materials, we need to go down on the scale, and we have been finding big innovations through this concept. We have already launched a product in our Fremax, which is a surface cover. It's a paint, special paint that allowed us to open a new market on the North American market through the use of these technologies. We are working with pretreatment solutions using our concepts of nanoparticles that, in addition to increasing the efficiency of these treatments, it has a significant impact, and it has been reducing the use of metals and other inputs that are more damaging to the environment in the composition of this type of solution. When we talk about mobility, we have our main solution, ESG, that we presented a few years ago, and that is a highlight in Brazil and the world. We are being recognized all over the world for our innovation and the solution that we presented through ESG, which is embedded in our trucks through the line of products Hybrid R, but also we have been able to expand the use of this solution to several other market niches. Randon Solar is another solution that makes our semi-trailers even more efficient in terms of energy consumption and fuel use. Through this solution, we are reducing the consumption of diesel in the cooling equipment in our trailers, and we could not forget our innovative project. It's transformational project, which is our solution of modular semi-trailers. This brings a market impact for the environment, and it reduces significantly, reduced in 70% the amount of welding. So we use less energy, less gases, the fumes. It's a transformational project, and it's also one of our most relevant projects within this field of transformation and innovation of products. But we don't stop with products, we also advance with services. In the last few years, last cycles, we have presented to the market transformative solutions, also with services. The solution of the AutoExpert platform, which is a solution that was offered and placed to the market by Fras-le Mobility, is making easier, facilitating the lives of those who purchase parts. It's a modern platform, very connected, with the use of data that facilitates the life of our customers and our supply chains with a postpaid freight, an important solution, technologies available in our structures to help with the development of advanced systems of driving. So our companies are fully connected with the most new things in terms of technology, of safety, and massive investments in industrial automation, bringing significant impacts to our generation and conversion of results. And also we could not forget to mention this transformative solution, which is our Randon Smart. Randon Smart is a solution that is not limited to telemetry. It's a very smart way to allowing our clients to follow and understand the productivity and efficiency of their products and semi-trailers, that they can have predictability of maintenance and have a gain in costs and operational control. It's a transformative solution that is in full process of being scaled, and it's something that will transform the businesses of Randoncorp as a whole. We're not limited to innovating with our resources and our teams. We have a lot of startups connected. In 2023, we connected with almost 120 startups. We are establishing strategic partnerships, as I mentioned before, all the innovation ecosystem, universities, the Sistema S, research systems in the country and abroad. This all comprises a large body, a large ecosystem moved by Randoncorp that moves and makes all our process of innovation and vanguard to be sustained and be supported by strong pillars. With that, I will conclude my presentation. Now I will invite our CFO, Paulo Pigonato, to say a little bit more of what we are doing in governance. Thank you, Cesar. Good morning. I'd like to thank you for being here in person and remotely. Following this event that is so important for us, I will talk a little bit about the evolution of our governance. We start here with a raising that we did with EFC, the World Bank organism that supports developing countries, especially with initiatives related to the ESG topic. So we concluded this financing, Fras-le Mobility and Randoncorp. These funds entered this year. And why are we showing this? First, because it's a financing that will support us with funds so that we can continue on this journey of investments on ESG topic. And in addition, it's an important approval from the point of view of reputation. So we spent almost 2 years in this due diligence process of auditing by the EFC that interviewed all our stakeholders, clients, suppliers, community, employees. So it means that after these 2 years, we were able to conclude this process, and it ends up being like a stamp that supports us in all our initiatives. In addition, it was our first sustainable operation, so it's a sustainable title. And as we reach those targets that Daniel mentioned in the beginning, we will have reductions in the cost of financing. All the companies, public companies, which is our case, every month of July, we need to report to the CVM our governance evolution. This is a formal commitment that we have. So you can notice that through the last years, year after year, we have been evolving in this item, both in Randoncorp and Fras-le Mobility. We brought also data here of July 2024 We still don't have a market comparison, but in 2023, these numbers were above the average of the companies listed in the Novo Mercado segment. This makes us happy because it's new processes, new policies. So we are here proving that our commitment is maintained and continues on this journey. It's important to talk about governance, about our process of risk management. This is something that we started in 2018, and every 2 years we perform a reclassification of all our risks in the market environment. So we identified 43 risks. We do an evaluation and criticality assessment, and we have a process of monitoring and treatment of those risks in such a way that we have one responsible for each one of those risks, one person responsible, and the objective is to be prepared and to minimize possible impacts to our business. So this is very important as well, and it's something that we have been evolving systematically. Within this prioritization of risks, our number one risk in this moment is information security. So we started our journey in 2012. We did several projects in processes and new tools. We developed our governance structure and information security in such a way that we have a strategy to mitigate those risks. And especially with the support of the whole leadership of the company, we have a process that is extended to all our employees of awareness raising regarding cybersecurity. Highlighting as well an important initiative related to this topic. In the end of last year, we updated our ERP. We used the platform of SAP. We started to use a cloud solution, S/4HANA, and this is directly related to the reduction of the risk in our business environment. In addition, we also did a review of our supplier's manual in such a way that the annual assessment will be done also on the ESG pillars. So we're going to have an audit in all our supply chain in a way that all these projects and initiatives that we showed here can also be unfolded to all our suppliers. To conclude here my part, I invite you to visit or to access our sustainability policy that was shared this year through this link. I now pass the floor to Sergio, who will close this meeting. So everyone, it's an immense progress in fronts. I hope that you are seeing as well that we are working hard to achieve our commitments, public commitments in 2025, those that we have the date, and we are working fast to reach the other commitments as well. But I hope that it's clear to you that we are doing much more than what we have as public commitments. And maybe some of you could ask why? Why do we do more? It's not due to market pressure or the stock market or defining targets for us. No, we do more because, well, first of all, this was already part of our DNA, and we do much more because we believe that those are the right things to be done. And this is an important point for us. We believe that taking care of the planet in the sense of using better the resources is important. Polluting less the planet is important. So that's why, in addition to our public commitments in Scope 1 and 2, Anderson explained here everything that we are doing in Scope 3 as well. We talked about governance. We believe a lot in our values in ethics, transparency. We believe that all that is foundational so that we can grow in an orderly way and we can make the company sustainable. We believe that in the social aspect, taking care of people is a value for us. We talked about diversity and inclusion. Obviously, there are regulations and obligations in some cases, but for us, we believe in diversity and inclusion. It's not only because it's the right thing to do, but the solutions that we are able to develop in services and products and management are much more robust. They are much stronger and perennial. If you work with a diverse group, you're going to have more perspectives and we are able to achieve much more. Talking about the social, our commitment with the social this year was put to the test. With all the flood, this climate disaster has put us in a situation of reacting and looking at our purpose, our objective, and it's the time for us to act. So in this sense, Valéria has already elaborated well. 306 families were affected, and our company acted very fast. We provided support, individual support. We visited the 306 families. We provided psychological support, instructions, medical support, and financial support, and significant support. We opted internally for not sharing how much we supported, because that was not the point to do marketing about this, but believe me, said by our employees, we supported them strongly. So I think that, I hope that you have a similar view. This is said by our employees themselves. We passed that test. So we continue forward, committed with sustainability. Thank you all for your participation, and I'll see you in our next event. Thank you so much and have a great afternoon.